American icon.
Chia.
Chia Trump, a special edition collectible. Just water and watch it grow.
I'm with you, the American people.
And I love this country.
Show pride and support with Chia Trump and honor and respect for Chia Obama. Chia Trump with Chia Obama. Available at Amazon.com and Chia.com. Makes a great gift.
This holiday, what are you going to give? Give 30 more seconds on your Peloton. Give it your best morning, noon, or night. Give it up for New York's best instructors live. Give them something to see. Give yourself 1,000 other riders to push you to the top. Give them the one thing that will make them give it all. This holiday, give the gift of Peloton.
I bet you've never seen a bed like this. It's the new Craftmatic Legacy Rising Pillow Rest Adjustable Bed, featuring bedside power plugs, underbed nightlights, and more for less, up to 50% less than Tempur-Pedic, Sleep Number, and other adjustables. Call now. You gotta see how little they cost.
Attention parents of children with cerebral palsy. If you suspect a medical mistake may have occurred at or near the time of birth, call Science and Kirk for a free legal consultation.
Call 1-800-336-5513. That's 1-800-336-5513.
UFOs have been the stuff of conspiracy theorists for decades, often mocked for talking about it, but maybe they shouldn't be mocked. Commander David Fravor spent 18 years as a naval aviator, a pilot. In 2004, he had an unforgettable encounter with an aircraft he said was defying the laws of physics. Former Commander Fravor joins us tonight. Thanks a lot for coming on tonight. Tell us what you saw.
Well, we had launched on a routine training mission. When we joined up, we were told that the event was going to be canceled, and that we had real-world tasking, and we were sent out to the west. Now, take in mind that this has taken place about 100 miles southwest of San Diego, between San Diego and Ensenada, Mexico. Yep. On a clear, perfect day, blue waters. We get out to the spot where they tell us it's at. We start looking around, and both airplanes see a disturbance in the water and a white 40-foot long tic-tac shaped object just hovering above the water, going forward, back, left, right. There's no rotor wash, there's no wings, nothing. So as we drive around in a clockwise flow, we get to about the 9 o'clock position, and I said, well, I'm going to go down and check it out, and the other jet is going to stay high. So as we go down, when we get to the 12 o'clock position, it starts to mirror us. So it's in a clockwise flow, and it's on the opposite side of the circle from us. And we continue this. It's in a climb, we're in a descent, we're getting a great look at it. This whole thing takes about probably up to 5 minutes from the time we show up. I get over to the 8 o'clock position, it's at about the 2 o'clock position, and I decide I'm going to go and see what it is, and it's about 2,000 feet below me. And I cut across the circle, and as I get within about a half mile of it, it rapidly accelerates to the south in about 2 seconds and disappears.
What would you estimate the speed?
Oh, well above supersonic. It like a bullet out of a gun, it took off.
So from what you know about aerodynamics, mechanics, physics, should this be possible, what you saw?
Not with the technology that we have today. Not at all.
Even now, even 13 years later, is there anything that you know of capable of this kind of behavior?
No, there's nothing I know of. I mean, when we saw the video with the IR, it has no exhaust, no discernible things of anything form of propulsion. And this thing came from a dead hover over the water, just kind of moving around, to a climb up to about 12,000 feet to rapidly accelerating away in a climb, and in less than 2 seconds it was gone. And you figure you're talking 50 miles of visibility, and you can easily see an object that size easily out to 10 miles, and it just disappeared in seconds.
What would be the effects on a human pilot of the G-forces involved in that altitude change?
Well, the altitude wouldn't be bad. It would be the acceleration of the object.
Right.
Honestly, I wanted to fly it.
Yeah,
but, I bet. Talking to some physicists, they don't think the human body could handle that kind of force with that acceleration.
It doesn't sound like the human body could. So bottom line, what do you think this was?
I believe, as do the other folks that were on the flight, that when we visually saw it, that it was something not from this world.
When presumably you expressed that belief to your superiors, what did they say?
Actually, we caught a lot of grief getting back to the boat, and it got passed off as an event that no one could explain. Now, keep in mind, they had been tracking these for 2 weeks prior to us seeing it, and this was the first time that manned airplanes had been airborne when the objects appeared.
This feels like a really big story to me. It's not exactly clear why Vladimir Putin's more interesting than this. I think this seems like a big deal. And Commander, I appreciate your taking the time to talk to us about it. You seem sober and believable, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Tucker.
Thanks. We feel a little betrayed. For months, Chris Cuomo has soothed our weary soul with his mystical philosophy, but now he is pushing sinister gender stereotypes. We'll show you the evidence and explain. That's next.
Merry Christmas.
Why are there so many miles on it?
What?
For great offers, visit your local Jaguar retailer during the Unwrap a Jaguar sales event.
With Advil's fast relief, you'll ask, what pulled muscle? What headache? Nothing works faster to make pain a distant memory. Advil Liquid Gels and Advil Liquid Gels Minis. What pain?
There's a new place for senior care. A place with flexible meal plans and 24-hour room service. A place where seniors get the care they need in the comfort of home. Home Instead Senior Care.
When our country used to flex its muscle with battleships like the USS Iowa, the world would listen. It's time we return to the America I remember. Hi, I'm William Devane. There are dangerous forces everywhere pulling our country apart, threatening our economy and our way of life. That's why I'm going to do two things: support our military and buy gold from Roslyn Capital. I've never felt safe relying on paper money to protect my assets. That's why I buy gold from Roslyn. With Roslyn, what you order is what you get. No gimmicks, no nonsense, no hassle. We're all safer with our ships patrolling the seas. And my assets are a whole lot safer with gold from Roslyn Capital. So ask yourself, are you safe?
Call now to get your free gold, silver, and IRA kits. Call 800-630-8900. 800-630-8900. 800-630-8900.
Hi, I'm the one clocking in when you're clocking out, sensing your every move and automatically adjusting to help you stay effortlessly comfortable. I can even help with a silent night. Does your bed do that? I don't actually talk, but I can tell you how you slept. I'm the new Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed. Let's meet at a Sleep Number store.
I used to have more hair. I used to have more color. And I used to have cancer. I beat it. I did. Not alone. I used to have no idea what the American Cancer Society did. Research, yeah, but also free rides to chemo and free lodging near hospitals. I used to maybe give a little, then I got so much back. I used to have cancer.
Please give at cancer.org.
I love shopping, but my biggest challenge is fit. With Stitch Fix, my stylist finds that perfect fit for me.
Stitch Fix is my online personal stylist.
I don't really like going shopping. Stitch Fix is super easy. I tell them my style, boom, the box comes right to my door. No trip to the mall.
And you pick your price range, so everything's within your budget.
Having a great outfit on changes the tone of my whole day. Stitch Fix gets me ready for anything.
My style, my fit, delivered right to my door. Sign up at stitchfix.com.
Honey, I think I heard something.
Okay. From Christmas tree mats to floor liners, cargo liners, and over 100 other premium products, WeatherTech has the perfect holiday gift.
Honey, is everything okay?
Oh, yeah. Order at WeatherTech.com. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from WeatherTech.
I think it's fair to say that no cable network has ever promoted a rival anchor the way we've promoted Chris Cuomo of CNN. It's just not done. And yet we've chronicled Chris Cuomo's wit, his profound, even mystical philosophical musings. Don't always understand him, but we love him. And of course, his abs. We love Chris Cuomo on the show. Or did, until the other day, when out of nowhere, Cuomo suddenly pulled off the mask and began trafficking in the most dangerous possible gender stereotypes. Normally, we'd be too uncomfortable to show you the tape. We're going to do it anyway tonight in the hope that we can all learn something from this moment. But we warn you, now's the time to have the kids leave the room. Okay, roll it.
That is the sippy cup grip that you're using there right now. It is a very good one. I don't get all the hands thing in the glass. You know, I don't know what it's all about. I mean,
you drink from a vase.
This is what I drink out of. I drink out of and I hold it like a man with one hand. But that's, you know, that's me.
Right, that's you.
And I don't
just
think
have
it's a
giant
judgment. Certainly not one of our biggest concerns. You want to hold a cup with all your hands, you know, that's what you do.
Like a man? Really? Or as the kids on Twitter say, seriously? You'd think we'd be past comments like that maybe we'd evolved a little bit. That at a time like this, when the country's trying hard to be sensitive and inclusive, the rest of us wouldn't have to feel endangered by binary, gender-normative assumptions like these, the outdated, discredited claim that there are two biological sexes with meaningful differences between them. Wake up, Grandpa! It's 2017. You'd think of all networks, CNN would be a safe space where hate like this wouldn't be tolerated, but no. Apparently it's like the Middle Ages over there, where people still hold cups, quote, like a man. Troglodytic stereotypes, anyone? Honestly, we're more than a little disappointed. If it was anyone other than Chris Cuomo, we'd be tempted to lodge a complaint with the Civil Rights Division over at the Justice Department, or at the very least switch to MSNBC. But for Chris Cuomo, we'll be patient. We think he can grow from this, and we hope he does. That's about it for us tonight. Tune in every night at 8 to the show that's the sworn enemy of lying, pomposity, smugness, and especially groupthink. DVR it if you know how that works. Good night from Washington. Good news, Judge Jeanine, one of our favorites, in for Hannity tonight.
Well,
hey, Judge.
Thanks so much. And I've got to tell you, Tucker, I always want to stay on your good side.
I like Chris Cuomo too now.
All right, welcome to Hannity. I'm Jeanine Pirro in for Sean. There's a lot of major breaking news tonight. We start with President Trump and Republicans scoring a major victory and keeping a huge promise to the American people by passing a historic tax cut bill. The president and members of the GOP celebrated the accomplishment at the White House. Let's take a look.
It's been an amazing experience, I have to tell you. Hasn't been done in 34 years, but actually really hasn't been done because we broke every record. It's the largest, I always say the most massive, but it's the largest tax cut in the history of our country, and reform, but tax cut.
You've ended the overregulation of the American economy. And that, coupled with what we did last night and what the House finished this morning, means America is going to start growing again. Thank you, Mr. President, for all you're doing.
Something this big, something this generational, something this profound could not have been done without exquisite presidential leadership. Mr. President, thank you for getting us over the finish line. Thank you for getting us where we are. This gets the American economy competitive in the global economy. This is one of the most important things we could do for all of the people we represent.
And we're going to keep fighting, and we're going to make this the greatest presidency that we've seen, not only in generations, but maybe ever. God bless all of you.
They have been working on this for years, years and years. And I just want to turn around and I want to thank them all. They are very, very special people. Thank you very much, everybody.
As a result of the tax bill passing, major companies like AT&T, Comcast, and Wells Fargo have announced employee bonuses or wage increases. President Trump also fulfilled part of another key promise with his tax bill, the repeal of the Obamacare individual mandate. Watch this.
So in this bill, not only do we have massive tax cuts and tax reform, we have essentially repealed Obamacare, and we'll come up with something that will be much better, whether it's block grants or whether it's taking what we have and doing something terrific. But Obamacare has been repealed in this bill. We didn't want to bring it up. I told people specifically, be quiet with the fake news media because I don't want them talking too much about it, because I didn't know how people would. But now that it's approved, I can say the individual mandate on health care where you had to pay not to have insurance. Okay, think of that one. You pay not to have insurance. The individual mandate has been repealed.
Also tonight, the clock is ticking for Congress to reach an agreement to avoid a government shutdown that's set to begin this Friday at midnight. Ed Henry's in Washington with the latest. Ed?
Judge, good to see you. They can't celebrate this tax victory for long. They are facing that looming crisis tonight. Government funding set to expire late Friday, so they're talking about a short-term budget to keep it open until roughly January 19th. Then they'll have more talks. One sign of progress tonight is Republican leaders agreed to drop a provision to prop up the Obamacare markets that had angered conservatives. By leaving that Obamacare fix on the shelf, they have a shot at getting enough Republican votes in the House and Senate to keep the government open without needing any Democratic help. It's going to be hard to get even a small number of Democratic votes to pass the budget because liberal leaders like Nancy Pelosi signaled today they want to go back to resist. Pelosi firing off a letter to her Democratic colleagues that without adding new spending pressure, the ad starts running on Christmas Day, but we're getting a sneak peek tonight.
Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you.
Everyday Americans are standing up to thank President Trump.
Thank you so much
for making America great again.
Thank you for cutting my taxes.
Thank you for fixing our economy.
Thank you for keeping my family safe.
Thank you for putting America first.
Now, the president's advisors tell me the point is they feel the president has been beaten up from day one. And despite all of the critics, there are millions of Americans who are grateful for his leadership, particularly on tax reform. And they're eager to get him going to pass other big items like infrastructure and immigration reform. So they do not want a government shutdown right now to slow the momentum they believe he has. And in fact, the Treasury Secretary, Stephen Mnuchin, is telling our own Brett Baer tonight he believes they'll find a way to avoid a government shutdown, Judge.
Thanks so much, Ed. And joining us now with reaction to President Trump and the GOP's big tax victory is counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway. Good evening, Kellyanne. I'll bet it was an exciting day at the White House.
It has been indeed. There's a buoyancy and a vibrancy. You saw it there on full display. You saw the president really calling out by name the leaders in the House and Senate, the chairman of the different committees, and really the rank and file Republicans. Unfortunately, there were no Democrats there because none of them took an opportunity to give tax cuts and relief to our job creators, to middle-class families. And they're going to have to go home this Christmas and all next year and explain why they insisted this was a tax cut for the rich when just today you had major companies say they're going to give bonuses and other charitable contributions to their employees. Are those employees receiving, those hardworking men and women, the rich? So I think the Democrats missed a huge opportunity here. It was President Trump's leadership that really put this over the top.
Kellyanne,
he worked very closely
let me
with the
ask
Congress.
you something. You know, when I heard that AT&T was going to give bonuses, something like $1,000
to 200,000 employees.
It's
unbelievable.
How do the Democrats spin that this is a bad thing, and how long is it going to take for people to recognize that this tax cut, tax reform is indeed what the president and his supporters have said it is?
Indeed, I think they'll see it right away. And somebody at the podium today was making a very good point that there are a couple of dates for Americans to look at, Janine. One is January 1st. Starting next year, literally, we'll have a different kind of tax code that we all live under. In February, many Americans will start to see the increases in their pay. Their paychecks will get fatter under this paycheck president. And in April, of course, April 15th, a day many Americans dread, they will recognize that many of them will simplify the way they file their taxes. They'll take back so much of those wasted hours and wasted money. Then they'll start to see many of these businesses repatriate the trillions of dollars that is parked legally offshore. We're going from the offshoring model to the American model, and it will make our job creators more competitive. I think today was a real turning point. in terms of showing that the Congress and the presidency can work together, president can work together to deliver for the American people. This was not a campaign promise. This is a moral imperative for people who deserve to keep more of their money.
And you know, what is sometimes overlooked in this whole thing is that the repeal of the individual mandate, the requirement that people who don't buy insurance are going to be fined by all of those additional hirees at the IRS, and I assume that they won't be there much longer, you know, is something that is.
And the third thing in this 3-for-1 was Anwar. This has taken 40 years for a president and a Congress to pass what others, including President Reagan and Presidents Bush's, tried to do, which is start drilling responsibly so that we are more energy dependent on America. We create those jobs. Right. We tap those resources. I mean, some of the estimates are truly incredible. But all of this put together, America is going to see almost immediately what a difference there is in the economy. And let's face it, Janine, the tax cuts is the centerpiece of what's been regulatory rollback, energy independence, and really great booming stock market for the entire year he's been president.
Well, and you know what's interesting is they say that, you know, the booming stock market is, you know, it's even reflecting the confidence that we're going to be seeing once it happens. But I want to ask you about this deal on DACA and the continuing resolution, the possibility of the government shutdown Friday, I believe it is. Now, do the Democrats, none of whom voted for this tax cut, do they have any leverage as it relates to the continuing resolution and forcing some of the issues that they'd like to have passed?
They have a great deal of explaining to do, I believe, as to why none of them could admit that individuals and employers in their states and their congressional districts would benefit from this. It's very clear they would. So they'll have to explain that in due course. On the continuing resolution, we feel confident and we are very hopeful that the Democrats will not allow petty partisan politics to get in the way of keeping our government open and funding obligations to the military and elsewise. Now, on immigration, people should review the president's entire 70-point immigration plan, Judge Janine, because in it you will see everything from DACA to ending chain migration to ending this visa lottery program to having thousands more ICE agents on the border so that we can get more security. We have a 50% decrease in illegal crossings since he was elected. We want the poison out of our country. 90% of heroin, the president has said, comes through the southern border. We have fentanyl coming in. And so all of this adds up to a president who's put a 70-point immigration plan, including a merit-based system, and everybody should read it and not just focus on any one component.
But we don't have to worry that DACA is something that they can leverage before the continuing resolution and that the CR will pass, correct?
I would hope so, because the president has made very clear that he wants that wall funded, and that is not negotiable. And anybody who wants to bring to the table their chief concerns will also have to hear his.
Do we
and
know
I would
when,
say he has the upper hand here.
Kellyanne, I don't mean to rush you, but do we know when the president is going to sign this bill?
Sign the continuing resolution?
No, the tax reform.
Oh, well, there are processes that need to and protocols that need to be followed, as I understand it. And so you can expect him to do that in due course over the next couple of weeks, I suppose it could happen, I'm told. But today, people can rest assured that that is a formality. The passage is real, and you saw corporate America respond to it today by passing it on. Unlike all the predictions, Janine, all the breathless predictions where corporate America would never allow this tax cut to redound to the benefit of the little guy, of the worker. They were going to stick it in their own pockets. The minute it passed, before the president even went out to the South Lawn, they had already announced these bonuses. They predicted a year ago global recession, stock market crashes, a disaster everywhere. The opposite has happened. The consumer confidence is historic. The unemployment rate is low, the lowest ever among Hispanics, lower for African Americans and women and teens in a while. And so all of this knitted together shows a president and his leadership that has been able to realize a piece of legislation that many members who stood behind him tomorrow had voted on many years, only to have it die on a president's desk. And some of those had voted for the Reagan tax cuts, and they think this is even more bold.
Well, Kellyanne, we very much appreciate it. Rita, congratulations. You can continue celebrating tonight.
Congratulations to America. Thank you.
Yes, take care. And joining us with reaction, our radio talk show host, Larry Elder, former Clinton pollster, Fox News contributor Doug Schoen, and Fox News contributor Lisa Booth. All right. Now, Doug, I'm going to ask you a question, okay? Because clearly the one Democrat on the panel, what if the Democrats are saying, you know, Chicken Little, the sky is falling, and people start seeing on February 1, the date that they've identified as the date when the people are going to be seeing more money in their paychecks. I mean, doesn't that bode very poorly for the Democrats in 2018?
Well, it could. There are a couple of daunting statistical challenges the president and Republicans face. The bill now polls unpopularly. The Democrats are 10 or 11 points ahead in the generic vote. So this is going to take a campaign of the type that the president, I see, is launching on Christmas Day to sell the bill, because rest assured, the Democrats will be out selling the opposite message. So there's still a major road to hoe for the administration.
All right, Lisa, I'll ask you this. I mean, clearly the fact that the bill is so unpopular with the American people, and that the president, as Doug said, and as we heard earlier, is going to start, you know, this whole campaign talking about the benefits. The Democrats really are in a bad situation if indeed, you know, this bill delivers what they say it's going to deliver, which is that, you know, 80% of households are going to get a tax cut. Middle incomes, 90% are going to pay less. What do the Dems do when that happens?
Well, and especially because Democrats have set the bar at saying that this is going to be Armageddon. This is apocalyptic.
Don't look
right?
at me, Lisa.
I know, you're not like that. But so when you set the terms in that ridiculous of a manner, of course it's not going to be that. As you mentioned, 80% of Americans are going to see tax cuts. And the reason why that this is polling so poorly is largely in part because of the media. They carry the water for the Democratic Party. Look at the Associated Press. After the House passed this bill, they sent out a tweet breaking, and all it mentions is the fact that this is getting done after 3 decades, mentioning steep tax cuts for businesses and the wealthy. Didn't mention anything about the middle-class families who are the beneficiaries of this
because
bill.
those are their talking points. Larry, what's your take on all this?
Ultimately, this bill will be judged by its results, just as the American people judged Ronald Reagan by its results. And that is why Ronald Reagan's second tax cut bill, only 3 senators opposed it. Among them was not Ted Kennedy. The soul of the Democratic Party has switched Kennedys from Jack Kennedy to Ted Kennedy, and has now gone from Ted Kennedy to Bernie Sanders. That's where these guys are. The American people will see a raise in their checks. They will see greater economic security, and that's what will determine whether or not the Republicans do well or badly in 2018, and whether or not Donald Trump is reelected in 2020.
What about, Doug, what happened with AT&T?
Yeah.
The 200,000 people getting into $1,000. I mean, the bill hasn't even been signed yet. The stock market, they say, hasn't been factored into the rise, which is historic. I mean, how do they continue to be able to sell this to the American people that the Republicans are bad for the economy?
Well, there's a simple talking point that they have to rebut, which is the highest rate is 37 on individuals, 21 on corporations, ipso facto, a break for the corporations. But you make an important point, Judge, which I think deserves to be underscored. The administration needs help. They can't do it on a partisan basis. And if I was with the president, I'd say, Mr. President, great that you thank Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell. Don't mention their names again, because they're really, you know,
but it's not just the bonus.
You got to get the corporations and working people out speaking in favor of the bill.
And it's not just the bonuses, though. There's also investments, because Comcast has also announced $50 billion over the next 5 years. AT&T said that if tax reform got done, that they would invest $1 billion. So we're going to see more investment.
But that's a little long term. I mean, this is so immediate.
But
this is unbelievable.
But I think when Americans see that, though, they recognize the impact of this. And Republicans do have to sell it, and they have to sell it against the odds of the media being against them. But I think they can do it, and that's what they're going to do when they go home to their states and their constituencies.
And Larry, don't you agree that this is one time where, irrespective of what the mainstream media says, when Joe Smith gets his his paycheck and he looks at it and he sees a difference on February 1, he's going to say, "Whoa, this is real."
Absolutely. And there's one other thing that we haven't talked very much about, and that is that this bill gets rid of the death tax. Guess who's opposed to the death tax? The National Black Chamber of Commerce. The head of Black Enterprise, the founder of Black Enterprise, also wrote op-ed pieces against the death tax. I thought Donald Trump disliked people of color. I thought he didn't like black people. He also praised Tim Scott, the black Republican from South Carolina, who helped him push this bill through. I thought Donald Trump did not like people of color. Oh, my goodness. Maybe some people are going to have to rethink some of their assumptions. God forbid.
Well, and you know what? I have to tell you, Larry, and I'll go to you, Doug. I mean, hearing Tim Scott today, he was talking about, and you know, every one of them was so genuine who got up, you know, with their, not just their satisfaction with the bill finally passing, but you could feel it was emotional, where Tim Scott says they are investing now in opportunities. Trillions are going to go into the poor communities.
Sure. A couple of things. Look, I think Lisa's right, much as she likes to castigate Democrats.
Can you say that again?
No, I will say it again, because this has to get sold by people other than politicians. And they have a real problem in blue states, because there are...
New York, New Jersey, California, Connecticut, forget it.
Well, that's right, but I think there are 15 or 20 Republican congressmen up there and another 10 or 15 on the West Coast. Look, the House could swing based on the elimination of the deductibility of state and local taxes. They need a special job in blue states to sell the broader benefits. They need to do it on a broad scale basis without the political class involved.
But it's the big, beautiful tax cuts, right? Everyone wanted for Christmas.
Except when the taxes go up in those states.
You know, and Lisa and Larry, I just have a little time left. I mean, you know, for those states where state and local taxes are no longer deductible, there's a limit, you know, on, on mortgages. I mean, that's Joe Smith, too.
Yeah, I mean, that is going to be a tough sell. I mean, this is one of the areas where those members of Congress in those states were concerned about that, the House members. So I think it is a concern for Republicans.
Okay, all right. And Larry, just finally, I've got to go in a second, but your take on how they're going to deal with it?
Obama gave us a 2% recovery. Ronald Reagan gave us a 4% plus recovery. Got overwhelmingly reelected in 1986, 49 states to 1. Wow. I wouldn't worry too much if we get a 4% GDP growth.
All right. We're lost in the House, 2 in the Senate.
Thank you all. Got heartbreaking. Coming up, Democrats and the media are completely losing it over the Republican tax bill. We'll show you the latest out-of-control examples. Plus, a Fox News exclusive report, Congress plans to issue new subpoenas over conflicts in Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe's testimony yesterday. Congressman Raul Labrador and Greg Jarrett and Pam Bondi will react next. Stay with us.
Hi.
Well, honey, I said sweet potatoes.
Yes, you did. I forgot the shrimp. Shrimp and apple pie.
Dad likes pecan.
Oh, well, in that case, I can.
Love to drive? Visit your Infiniti retailer for leases starting at $289 a month during the Start Your Own Legacy winter sales event. Infiniti, empower the drive.
I am totally blind. And Non-24 can make me show up too early or too late, or make me feel like I'm not really there. Talk to your doctor and call 844-234-2424.
Steinmart is the one-stop spot for all your last-minute gifts. Gift the brands you know at prices you'll love while saving up to 60% off department store prices. With accessories, coats, sweaters, tech, and more, there's something for everyone. Don't miss out. Hurry into Steinmart today.
If your credit card debt is out of control, if you're in over your head in monthly payments, there's a secret the credit card companies don't want you to know. If you have more than $5,000 in credit card debt, you have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. That's bad news for the credit card companies, but it's great news for you. We're Credit Associates, and we're offering you free information on how to virtually eliminate your credit card debt with a monthly payment you can afford. To see how much you could save, call now. 1-800-617-2977. Don't declare bankruptcy. Don't consolidate. Give us 10 minutes and we could save you thousands. After all, we depend on your success and offer a guarantee so there's no risk. Credit Associates. Live better, debt-free. Find out how easy it is by calling now. For the secret the credit card companies don't want you to know, call Credit Associates now and see how much money you could save for free. Call 1-800-617-2977.
Hey, Todd.
Hey, Will.
So I think I got to get my roof repaired. Do you know anybody?
Yeah, actually I might.
Ah, great. Can you do a free background check on them for me? Get me some additional quotes. Research the average price for the job in this area and book the job for 2 weeks from now. On a Wednesday. No, wait. Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday's better.
You can't expect your neighbors to do everything HomeAdvisor can. So to find and instantly